The industry, man, it's not the same. Doesn't have to do with talent, it's about playing the game. The industry, real niggas is dying to get in. The industry, just to find they don't fit in. The industry ain't what it used to be. The industry's trying to control the way you MC. They want you to dress like this and talk like that. But I'm going dress like this and talk with the bat.
What I respect about you is you keep your passion, man. You keep your emotion, you know?
Well, I mean, at this stage in the game, that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's gonna get me where I need to be. You know how I feel about it. And I feel strongly about this man. I ain't gonna let a mother take it from me.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. You're out there fighting, man, just representing the struggle.
Yep. I mean, I got a following. I got real people that recognize. So I'm good, you know what I'm saying? So all that, you know, in the presence of the truth, the bullshit disappears.
Then I met the devil in God's country. You know, and it's not so much who, it's what, you know, what happens and the things that the devil does. It's not so much a person, even though he acts through people.
You know, what happened was, you know, like I said, I had the crazy track record, Def Jam, everything was good. You know, I go to do the 6th album, and you know,
Jay-Z became president.
Over. Yeah. You know, when he first got the job, he hit me with the call like, yo, dog, inmates is running the building, like, yo, you good? Finish the album, shoot the video. So what happened? Niggas go on vacation and, you know, we don't know. What you mean you don't know? How do you listen to a whole album, pick a single, shoot a video, then don't know? Okay, I see what's really good. You're trying to eliminate the competition. You know, because at first you retire, you know, then get me off the label, now you're back rapping again. Okay, I mean, it's all good. It's all good.
Yo folks, DMX's long-buried tapes just surfaced, and it's crazy. In these raw recordings, X calls out none other than Jay-Z, tying him to a shadow-level CIA handshake designed to wipe DMX off the map before he could roar back to the top. Sources close to the situation claim that DMX had been recording his thoughts and experiences, fearing that powerful figures in the music industry were conspiring against him. And if these tapes are real, we just might be looking at hip-hop's darkest Cold War, and the receipts are barking louder than ever. Now, before we dive into any of these wild-ass tapes, let's hit the rewind button and break down how this whole DMX and Jay-Z saga even started. Cause trust me, this beef wasn't built overnight. If you really grew up on hip-hop, then you already know Jay-Z and DMX have been at it since the 90s. I'm talking Bronx battlegrounds where legends were made, and both these dudes went toe-to-toe in a freestyle clash that had the streets talking for years. Ain't no clear winner, just bruised egos and mad tension. That right there planted the seed for a rivalry that kept boiling over through the years. And don't forget that whole Murder Inc. thing with Ja Rule. Supposed to be a hip-hop Avengers type crew, but egos clashed, especially between X and Hav. By 2000, that dream group was done. Now fast forward to 2004, Jay-Z gets handed the keys to Def Jam, becomes president, and guess what? X ain't feeling none of that. Man said Jay disrespected him straight up, telling him, "The inmates have taken over the prison." That line right there, cut deep. X took it like Jay was saying he wasn't fit to lead or speak up. Now, Jay's team tried to clean it up over the years, saying they patched things up, saying Jay once skipped the Grammys for DMX, cause X wasn't nominated in '99. And yeah, Jay allegedly paid off $12 million of X's debt so he could bounce from Def Jam free.
The good part about Def Jam, and I gotta give it the whole, is that X had he was in debt over there. He probably owed about 12 million. He had owed them a lot of money over there at Def Jam through the course of years. And me and Hov got together, and I went up to the office and I asked him, I said, "Can you do me a favor and let us sign X?" Where we went to sign, I think we took him to where we took him at? When we took him from Def Jam.
Sony, right?
Sony. Yeah, Sony, yeah.
Yeah, we took him with Chad over there at Sony.
Yeah, we took him over there, but he released him. He wiped out the debt clean and let him go with no money. He didn't have to pay nothing back. So Hov did do that. I remember that. So.
But don't let the surface fool you. Behind all that, folks close to him kept saying, "Nah, that beef never really died." Some insiders even say DMX always felt like Jay's come up meant his own downfall, and that maybe, just maybe, someone out there wanted that to happen. Someone with power, someone not in the rap game for the culture, but for control. Now here's where things start getting dark, like really dark. See, DMX wasn't just barking on tracks, he was warning us, screaming through verses, interviews, and even poetry. Go check 2007, HBO's Def Poetry Jam. DMX hit the stage and dropped a piece called The Industry, and it wasn't no regular poem. This was a war cry. X laid it out bare. The game's rigged, artists are pressured to sell out, and the ones who don't, they get boxed out, blackballed, or buried.
The street, man, it's not the same. Doesn't have to do with talent, it's about playing the game. The industry, real niggas is dying to get in. The industry, justifying they don't fit in. The industry ain't what it used to be. The industry's trying to control the way you MC. They want you to dress like this and talk like that. But I'm going dress like this and talk with the bat. The industry, got your word meaning nothing. The industry, fuck what you heard cause he's bluffing. The industry, money, bitches, hate, but I dare you to try to take a fucking thing off my plate. The industry like, wait! But in the streets, we like, get 'em. 17 up in that thing. Catch them sleeping and hit 'em. The industry, if you ain't got a strong mind, the industry will break you down, it's a matter of time. The industry, vultures with nothing to feast on. See me, I'm getting my beast on. The industry, stay in the dirt, play in the dirt, test the wrong one in the industry and you will get hurt. I'm not an industry artist, I'm an artist in the industry.
Now that wasn't entertainment, bruh. That was a testimony. And he kept it going. In tracks, in freestyles, even in jailhouse interviews, X kept saying the same thing. They want your soul. And don't think he was being metaphorical. Nah, he said it straight. In a 2009 interview from behind bars in Arizona, DMX claimed he met the devil, said he met evil in God's country, said he'd never go back.
Then I met the devil in God's country. You know, and it's not so much who, it's what, you know, what happens and the things that the devil does. It's not so much a person, even though he acts through people. You know, you can't call one person the devil.
Joe Arpaio?
You know, you can't call any one person the devil. You can't do that because no one person has enough power to be the devil. You know, and you know, it's through all these hardships that I realized that, you know what, this is God's country because I met the devil here. Because if I hadn't met the devil here, I wouldn't realize I was strong enough to overcome the obstacles that the devil would place in my path. And it's by overcoming these obstacles that I realized that this is God's country. Because he helped me get over these obstacles. He helped me get over these hurdles.
Okay, so but when you're done here, when you're out of here,
I'm not looking back.
You're not coming back?
No, I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back for a show. I'm not coming back for a visit. I'm not even driving through the states. If I'm in a plane and they gotta fly over it, I'm gonna go around, okay?
And when Dr. Phil asked him years later in 2013, he doubled down, 3 encounters with the devil, and each time, it got more real. He said, to understand this world, you gotta see both sides.
You've had a song on every album, a conversation with God.
Yes.
You've had...
And a prayer.
And a prayer, and I think you've had...
3 conversations with the devil.
3 conversations with the devil. Why with the devil?
Well, to make a fair decision, I think you have to be aware of both sides. And I was approached, so of course I had a conversation. It doesn't mean I rode with him or believed him. I just was able to recognize him by what he said to me and what he offered.
Looks like DMX wasn't just rapping bars. He was fighting demons, both real and the ones wearing suits with clean smiles. And here's the cold part. He never gave names, but anyone who knew the game knew who X was circling. He wasn't just talking about shady A and R's or jealous rappers. He was calling out the system itself, the top floor, the people who own the game. Let's keep it 100. DMX was a problem for the powers that be. You couldn't control him. He didn't play the game. He didn't kiss rings. He barked at him. So when Jay-Z became the Def Jam boss in 2004, you'd think it'd be love, right? Nah. X said Jay blocked his 6th album, Year of the Dog, again. Why? Because Hav changed his mind about retiring and decided he ain't want any real competition.
You know, what happened was, you know, like I said, I had the crazy track record, Def Jam, everything was good. You know, I go to do the 6th album, and you know,
Jay-Z became president.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, when he first got the job, he hit me with the call like, yo, dog, DMX is running the building like, yo, you good? Finish the album, shoot the video. What happened? Niggas go on vacation and, you know, we don't know. What you mean you don't know? How do you listen to a whole album, pick a single, shoot a video, then don't know? Okay, I see what's really good. You're trying to eliminate the competition. You know, because at first you retire, you know, then get me off the label, now you're back rapping again. Okay. I mean, it's all good. That's all good.
Y'all know Jay ain't dumb. Word is he saw X as a threat, a wild card who could shake up the charts, mess with his legacy. So what does he do? According to X, he used his position to ice him out, straight sabotage. But it doesn't stop there. DMX didn't just have beef with Jay, he had smoke for Jay's mentors. Let's talk about Lior Cohen. If you don't know that name, do your homework. Big label executive called a culture vulture for years. This man pushed substance rap heavily, even said in interviews he knows it destroys communities, but it sells.
Really rough, particularly on women. But I think it helped change the course of the crack epidemic. I don't know what's this opioid thing, man.
Well, being a crackhead wasn't cool back then. Being a crackhead wasn't cool. Now they seem like they're making it cool to be drinking lean and syrup and.
It's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
But I'm saying that's hypocritical, though. You're saying
it's opportunistic. Yeah. I got people to feed. I got a business to run.
You're gonna make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
Who's Dame Dash? You brought him up. I don't even know him.
He's also the same dude Jay calls a mentor in his book Decoded. In his memoir, Jay said, Lior Cohen, who I consider my mentor, once told me something that he was told by a rabbi about the 8 degrees of giving in Judaism. The 7th degree is giving anonymously, so you don't know who you're giving to, and the person on the receiving end doesn't know who gave. Now here's the bomb. Lior might not even be who he says he is. In a 2023 Vlad TV interview, he slipped up, said his mom was a housewife. Later, oops, turns out she worked for the Israeli government.
My mother was just a housewife and raising children, and it's a remarkable period of my life.
Now, I've always assumed that you were born in Israel because you have a slight accent when you speak. Have you heard this before?
Yeah, so my parents weren't immigrants because they weren't staying here.
Okay.
So my biological father was coming here just for his education. And my mother worked for the Israeli government. And so when I was born, I went straight back to Israel.
Oh, so you stayed there for a while.
I spent my first 3 years in Petach Tikva.
Aha. Okay, so that's where the accent comes from.
I don't know where it's a speech therapy accent. They try to get rid of this accent for a long time, really? Public education. I had a lot of resources, yeah.
Now this is where it gets crazy. Folks have been whispering that Lior might be connected to intelligence agencies, using the music industry to run shady-ish, pushing certain artists, burying others. Sounds crazy? Well, guess who else Jay is tight with? Desiree Perez, Rock Nation president and a former DEA informant. Yeah, look it up.
Why is the industry bowing down to Desiree Perez? Is it because of her connection to Jay-Z? It can, because a lot of people is connected to Jay-Z. There's a lot of agents and employees at Rock Nation. Desiree Perez just happens to have the juice. And one can say it's probably the ties to the cartel. She probably knows how to make the skeletons disappear.
So if Jay-Z's rise was greased by people like that, then maybe DMX was right all along. This wasn't just rap politics, this was chess, and the pieces weren't even all on the board. Now here's where this whole thing goes from crazy to straight up chilling. Word is, some lost DMX tapes just resurfaced, raw recordings, never meant for public ears. And in these tapes, DMX goes in, allegedly says, "They want me gone," and they're using him to do it. And you already know who him is. That ain't subliminal. That's straight fire at Jay-Z. And if you've been paying attention to how this game works, it checks out. DMX always felt the walls closing in, always felt like someone was moving against him. He talked about it for years, and these tapes, they might just be the final warning. Some of it's hard to believe, but then again, it looks like the industry's been hiding devils and diamonds for decades. And when you look at how X's career fell apart right after Jay's rise, right after he got locked out of Def Jam, it all starts to line up. Add the rumors about secret government ties, label execs with three-letter connections, and Roc Nation's weird relationship with law enforcement. Man, it's starting to feel like X was a target, and the tapes? They might be the receipts he left behind, just in case he didn't make it out alive. Now fast forward to when DMX passed in 2021, word is, Liar Cohen went on record and basically called X a damn gremlin. Said, and I quote, "X was a gremlin, reckless and looking for a wall to crash into." Like what? This man ain't even let the dirt settle on X's grave before running his mouth. Look, DMX had his demons, no doubt, but to say he had it coming? Nah, that ain't just disrespectful, that's straight up vile. And what's worse, Lior tried to backpedal later, claiming he helped X's career. Helped? The same guy who used to laugh at the thought of signing him? Bruh. Irv Gotti said it clearly. Back in the day, when he first brought DMX to the table, Lior and Jay-Z laughed in his face.
First meeting I ever had, I was like, "We gotta sign DMX," and they laughed at me. I remember when I left the office, Tina Davis said, she knew what I wanted to sign DMX. She said, "If DMX don't sell, your ass is fired." Jay and Dame did not believe in DMX. Jay would be like, "You think he's better than me?" And I'd be like, "He's nice just like you." I said, "If you look in the hood, there's less of like you and more of like him." "Yeah, but he don't want to live that. He's depressing, Gotti." And I said, "I don't give a f." So Jay used to watch me grind with X, and he was off with the Hitman. We back to the hood, and X is the leader of this revolution. I used to put on the wall a triangle with 5. And they was like, they used to clown me. And they used to be like, "Who's gonna buy his records, Gotti? Chihuahuas, he's barking. No one wants to hear that bullshit." And I'd be like, "Yeah." It sold 5. It was no more writing on the walls. It was, "Y'all can get behind me."
Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. DMX didn't just die, he disappeared. Official word says it was a heart attack from a drug overdose. But come on, how many times we gonna see the same damn storyline before we call it what it is? Word is, folks around X have been saying he was clean. Word is, man was in shape, looking better, talking about God heavy, and was finally getting back on his feet. And then boom, gone, just like that. That ain't sitting right. Some say the industry did him in, allegedly. And when you connect all the dots, Liar, Jay-Z, Roc Nation, powerful industry cats that X called out over and over, it's hard not to see some smoke. DMX said it himself. He had encounters with dark forces, literal ones, not just shady execs, but some next level stuff. He said it in interviews, on stage, in jail, on wax. Said the devil came at him. Said he had to make choices. Said some folks in power are working with forces that ain't human. Now maybe you think he was tripping. Maybe you think it's metaphors. But if that man believed it, and then he ends up dead, and now we've got lost tapes coming out where he's exposing Jay-Z and government ties. Now, in his last known interview, DMX spoke candidly about the pressures he faced in the music industry. He alluded to powerful figures who sought to control artists and suppress those who refused to conform. While he did not name names, many believe he was referring to Jay-Z and other industry moguls.
I really feel like I'm gonna look back on my life just before I go and thank God for every moment, for every single moment. Every single moment.
Adding fuel to the fire, recent allegations have surfaced against both Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs, accusing them of serious misconduct. These claims have led some to question the integrity of the industry and the lengths to which certain individuals may go to maintain control. And now, with DMX's alleged tapes coming to light, shockwaves have been sent through the entertainment world. While their authenticity remains a topic of debate, they have reignited discussions about the darker side of the music industry and the potential forces working behind the scenes. As more information comes to light, fans and supporters of DMX are demanding accountability. They seek answers to the questions that have lingered since his death. Was his demise truly an accident, or was it the result of a calculated effort to silence him? One online user wrote, "DMX spoke a lot of truth while he was with us. Whether he spoke in cliches and metaphors, he spoke on stuff we are seeing now and about certain people we were supposed to be keeping an eye on since then." Another wrote, "DMX has always been a poet. And that is how his music really touched me. He is my hero growing up as a teen girl other than my father. I don't believe he relapsed and he died of an overdose. I honestly think just like other artists like Aaliyah, Biggie, Tupac, MJ, Whitney, and more were killed by some of these devils in the industry because they knew a lot, but they couldn't be manipulated by the devil." While this other user wrote, "Never liked Jay-Z, always knew he was dirty and shady. Peace." While this user wrote, "I'm pretty sure Jay might have had something to do with DMX's death. The whole industry is messed up and evil. Fox, how long are we gonna play dumb?" These tapes allegedly got X saying, "They want me gone," and they using him to do it. And you already know who him is. DMX ain't just spitting bars. He was leaving clues. So maybe it wasn't an OD. Maybe it was an operation. This ain't just about hip-hop. This is about power, control, and what happens when somebody refuses to bow down. DMX wasn't a saint. He told us that himself. But what he was real. He never hid from his flaws, never faked for the cameras. That's why many loved him, and that's why they feared him. And now these tapes, they got the whole industry shook. If they're real, if even a fraction of it is true, then a lot of people got blood on their hands, allegedly. Now we want to hear your thoughts. Was DMX targeted? Was it all just a coincidence? Do you believe there's a bigger hand playing puppet master behind the scenes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and smash that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming next.